All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Linwood Jackson Radio Show. I am on location here at the Penn Cinema on the riverfront in Wilmington, Delaware, premiering for the Delaware Shore movie. It is a great feature film directed by Mr. Ragal Pravi, written by Mr. Michelangelo Rodriguez, and the guy that wrote the score for this great feature film is sitting right here with me. His name is Mr. David Hëvvitt.
Hello. Hello, I'm really pleased to be here, Linwood. So happy to be interviewed by you. I'm David C. Hëvvitt. I flew over here from the UK a couple of days ago, really to show my support for this film. It's one of the most exciting projects I've worked on.
Really?
Yeah.
You worked on a lot of projects,
I've worked
Dave.
on a lot of projects. If you look at my IMDb pages, we were discussing earlier.
Right.
We had a look, and there was a long list of sort of TV shows. The TV shows, they're okay, and that's my bread and butter job. But when I work on a film like this, that's my passion, and that's why I'm here supporting the film.
Really? That's interesting. You're doing TV and film. I do TV as well. I got a TV show.
Sure.
And but it's just like one TV show that I do interviews on, just like we do on the radio show. But you are involved in a lot of different TV shows.
A lot of different TV shows.
You see, and you're composing the scores for, or working and collaborating with other
composers.
Other composers as well.
And a lot of the shows you see have multiple composers.
Mm-hmm.
TV shows these days tend to want music that flits between different emotions.
Mm-hmm.
So they may want 30 seconds of rock and half a minute of classical music or something like that. So what they do is they use a lot of different composers, and they get that. But the difference between working on a feature film, feature film is opposite. It has one idea that you stretch out over the feature film.
Okay.
So that's way more satisfying for someone like me. But then my vision for the film, I can have working out over the course of 90 minutes or an hour and a half, or 2 hours or something. So rather than just doing sort of little bits and pieces for lots of TV shows, I can actually really get into it and support the film by writing a proper score for it. That's exactly why I'm here promoting this film, because this is more important to me than all those TV shows.
Got you. So it sounds like what you're saying is that you have creative control over a score for a movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so you're working primarily by yourself. You don't have team.
You are, yeah. As
John
Williams always says, it's the loneliest job you can have. You're stuck in a room, you and your computer these days, and you're tapping away, putting your music onto the screen, and there's no one else there. It's just silence, and that's how we work. Yeah, and as you said, I've got total creative control.
And so, how many movie scores have you done?
I've done 3 feature films. And one of them had a very Hans Zimmer soundtrack. It was called Macbeth, and that was way back in 2010, I think that was. Another one was more classical oriented, called Beheading Buddha. That was a feature film, and it was sort of pastiches of well-known classical music,
mm-hmm.
Beethoven, Bach, and big sort of Dvorak and that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then Delaware Shore, which is my latest one,
mm-hmm.
has sort of completely original idea. It's not based on any other composer.
Mm-hmm.
And I sat down with Ragav. Well, I didn't sit down. This is actually the first time I met him this weekend.
Okay.
But we've been working together since 2015 on other projects.
And if this is the first time you met him in person,
Yeah.
So I assume you were communicating through the telephone or computer.
Call. Yeah.
And obviously he trusted you enough to get you to do the score for this great.
I think that's the key point, actually, the trust.
Right.
And that's what you're looking for when you work with somebody. When you want to be creative, you want to have the control, because you can be your best, as you know,
mm-hmm.
being a creative person, when you can be solely control those moments of creativity.
Right.
And with Ragav, he let me have those moments. He said, okay, we have a spotting session where we decide when the music starts and ends for each scene.
Right.
But apart from that, he just said, I trust you to bring the emotion out for each scene. And, I went away and ran with that and was really grateful that he could just sort of let me go with my vision. And he knew that all I wanted to do was tell the story.
Right.
Rather than try and be the best in the film. And I think with a collaborative process,
mm-hmm.
if you find a group of people who want to support each other
mm-hmm.
to tell that story,
mm-hmm.
that's a rare thing. Usually there's somebody who wants to be the dominant force.
Right.
And in this film, that doesn't appear to be happening. It's a collaborative effort.
Right, I agree 100%. And obviously, you know, Ragal did his homework because and he was able to check your body of work and see, you know, your professionalism. I think you said something what you did about 50 TV shows.
Yeah, it's about 68 TV shows.
68 TV shows and 4 feature films.
4 feature films,
and
a bunch of
including
short
this
films.
one. And so, you know, that speaks for itself. You know, somebody's body of work speaks for itself. So it was obviously, you know, if he can get you, it's a no-brainer. And you had the time, obviously, to do the work.
But a lot of that work was under pressure, and the creativity was a little bit stifled. But now we're talking about Delaware Shore, as I said, the creativity was sort of allowed to flow with that.
How long were you working on the project from start to finish?
3 months.
3
really.
months?
I always give myself 3 months, and that's sort of, I have to have a timeline because it's a business for me.
Okay.
I run this as a business.
No, I get it.
The company's called AFX Industrial Film Scores.
Right.
So I can't let it just drag on and drag on.
Right.
So I'll say to Ragav, right, we'll get the spotting session in, we'll get the timings in, and then I'll give myself exactly 3 months, and I'll get up and work 5:30 till 10 every day until I finished it.
Wow. Because I believe we were working on this project. Well, not me. But I was just an actor in the film.
Yeah.
And my scenes I think I spent about 2 weeks, you know, and did probably about 12 hours of filming. And then, of course, some of it ends up on the cutting room floor, the edit floor. But and then the end product is what you see. So that's a little bit of the behind the scenes. Is it the same way when you're writing a score? You know, you come up with this music, and then does it all get in, or some of it doesn't make it? You know, the end product.
Some of it doesn't make it. What I tend to do, though, I think it's a bit idiosyncratic to me, and other composers may not do this. I'll sort of be a fan of myself for a while. So I'll write almost parody music, or I'll try and write music in the style of myself. Okay. So I'll be like, imagine Hans Zimmer. He takes a back seat and thinks, right, let me write Hans Zimmer music from someone else's perspective.
Okay.
And I do that. I found that some of that music ends up in the film, and I ditch some of, you know, the sort of classical works I've worked on for the film.
Okay.
Or the more me music gets ditched in favour of the stuff that's sort of trying to be me that I've written too, because it's still me, isn't it?
Right. So you wrote the music.
Yeah.
So you're a writer, obviously,
I'm a writer.
and
but there's different ways of looking at writing. That's the point I'm trying to make with this.
Right.
You could write a straight score, and it's just okay. That's always going to be you. But if you take a back seat and think, okay, how would somebody else approach writing this music? But I'm allowed to use my own material as a source, as ideas. I'm not plagiarizing myself. So that's what I do. I kind of plagiarize
you
myself.
Plagiarize yourself.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
And I use it, and I don't write from my perspective. I write it from a more free, you know, not so worried about what people think perspective.
How long have you been writing music?
About 40 years.
40 years.
So
you're not trying to age yourself here,
well,
but
yeah.
it's a long time.
Yeah, a long time.
And so when you're writing, so do you play music? You play instruments
I play the
as
piano,
well?
yeah.
That's all?
That's it.
You play the piano?
Yeah.
The basic instrument for creating scores, I
basic,
suppose.
But the best one, because you've got the full range of the orchestra. You've got all the notes an orchestra could play, you know, as in terms of the tones they could make on a piano. So you've got everything there.
So you have an understanding, obviously, of all the other instruments.
Yeah,
How many instruments are in this production?
Probably 60-piece orchestra, I think, is in this.
A 60-piece orchestra.
Yeah.
You're the composer. I'm just trying to get a grasp of this, the magnitude.
The mechanics of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we use software called Sibelius.
Okay.
Okay, and you know manuscript paper.
Okay.
From the days of old. You've got a quill pen and you write the dots on the paper.
Right.
Now you can do that with a word processing kind of program.
See.
Yeah.
That's why you spend so many hours in the
room with the computer.
Got you.
Everything is done in Sibelius now, and so all the notes we can put in.
Wow. Anyhow, we are in the movie theater right now, and so we do have might hear some background going on, but just to let everybody know and give an idea of where we're at, we are in Penn Cinema, and if you guys are in the area, you can come on down if you're listening and get your tickets to Delaware Shore, the movie, and so that they can enjoy this wonderful production as well. Now, Raggal has. Mr. Rick Shepard is in the house, but he don't hear us and stuff doing this here radio show, obviously. But anyhow,
you can edit this.
Yeah. So you told us about some of the work you've done on TV and some of the work you've done in movies. You said you like the movies better. With TV, you're collaborating with other composers and just kind of like on TV or. When you're writing is usually other writers in putting together a television program as well, and it's other cameramen, and it's always more than one when you're doing TV, and you guys can work together and then come out put out a great project. But you started at a young age writing and playing music and putting together scores. How old were you when you first did your first TV show, or what'd you do first, TV or film?
I did a short film first.
That was your first score?
2004. Yeah, I mean, short. It was about 50 minutes long, I think it was.
Right.
And it was around 2004.
You did the score. That was your first production?
2004. Very early noughties.
And then you got into TV?
Then I got into TV because that was more regular work. Whereas feature films that you are interested in come along less frequently, and TV is like the bread and butter.
Right, I got you.
Yeah.
Well,
John
bread
Williams,
and butter for you.
I go back to John Williams again, but a lot of these careers follow the same path. And he was a writer for CBS.
Who was this?
John Williams.
Okay.
He played the piano in a lot of the TV shows.
Okay.
Forbidden Planet, things like that. Twilight Zone, I think he orchestrated some stuff for, and Jerry Goldsmith did too.
Okay.
So these guys did a lot of TV also before they got into film. And Jerry Goldsmith and John Williams did loads of TV shows before they got successful in doing film. I think it's a good grounding TV show, work, because it tells you, it gives you an idea of what you don't like, and you can steer away.
But you got started in film first.
Yeah, I got started in film.
And what was the name of it?
It was called Birthday Boy.
Birthday Boy.
And I got started in film because that's what I wanted to do.
Okay.
But I didn't really feel at that time I was ready to be working in film.
And where is this? It's not too many film cities that's doing film. What city was this film?
This was London.
In London?
Yeah.
Okay, you're from London.
I'm from London, yeah.
Born and raised?
Born and raised. East London.
East London.
Whitechapel, actually.
Home of the Beatles?
Home with Jack the Ripper.
Jack the Ripper? Now you're going way back now, man. That's ancient, right?
Beatles, actually, are from Liverpool. So
okay. Okay. And then, but a lot of great music comes out of London. And and what brings you in America? But I think we were talking earlier. You shared with me you do a lot of your work in America.
America is 99% of my working life is taken up by America. 99%, and 1% of my work comes from Europe. And
how'd that happen?
And it's just a random career path, I think.
Okay.
And it ended up, I just kind of got on with American. I like the work ethic in America, and the work ethic is slightly more laid back in Europe.
Right, that's right.
And when you're working on a film, you can't be laid back. You've got to get it finished, and so
interesting.
I like to get things done. I don't like to hang around. I've got to get on to the next thing. I can't just hang around for directors to finish films. It has to move at a fast pace, and America moves at a much faster pace.
And it just so happens you got lucky or what have you, and you went to school here.
I went to school here for a while in 2005 in Greensboro, North Carolina. I was majoring in music and minoring in theology.
Okay.
Actually, at that time.
Interesting.
And, so I had some really good teachers. I had a great composition teacher called Dave. I can't remember his surname. But he's well known in Greensboro College, actually, and he's probably still there. He's got a couple of Steinways in his office.
Okay.
If I say that, anybody from that college will know who he is.
Okay.
Dave Steinway's in his office. So we'd sit in his office, him on one Steinway, me on the other Steinway, and we would work together, and he'd help me with my composition. And I got a really good mark for that.
What's the name of the school?
Greensboro College, North Carolina.
Greensboro College in North Carolina, and that's where you got your education. You said you did theology, so you're a reverend.
No, I minored in theology.
Okay.
And majored in music, so I've forgotten all about theology now.
Well, no, I'm sure you still have your...
A couple of things.
Yeah. I mean, you're a nice guy and all. But, okay, that is interesting, So you moved on from there. You right out of college, you were doing scores, and so you were in the right place at the right time, and you just named... How can people find you on your social media? Do you utilize social media at all?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. I have a Twitter account.
Twitter?
David_C_Hëvvitt, Hevvitt.
Okay.
That's Twitter.
And we'll put that in the podcast.
Yeah. And YouTube, my company's called AFX Industrial Film Scores.
Okay.
And that's sort of the moniker, and that's my business.
Okay.
And you can find that on YouTube.
Okay.
Just type that in, FX Industrial Film Scores.
Mm-hmm.
I have a website, fxindustrial.com.
Mm-hmm. I would think that's where you want to go first.
Yeah, I mean,
website.
Most people used to go to
Take
a website.
them to your website.
Yeah, fxindustrial.com.
Okay.
Go there. You can find out. You can go to all those places I mentioned from there.
Mm-hmm.
There's a Twitter feed on there.
Mm-hmm.
There's a link to YouTube. So yeah, that's the best place to start.
Correct. Take them to your website, bro. That's what I do, and then we can get everywhere else from there.
Yeah.
So what awards? You won some awards. I'm not sure which ones they were for Delaware Shore.
I did. I won 2 awards for Delaware Shore. One for Best Film Score from the LAFA, Los Angeles Film Association. Correct me if I'm wrong. And another one from HMPFF. Sorry, I may be getting these wrong.
That's
that was
all right.
also for Best Score. There was another 2 nominations or 3 nominations for score.
Right. And we
were
on the short list for an Oscar.
And we were on the short list for the Oscar, and that was exciting.
It is very
The
exciting.
film itself, as you know, has 13, 15 awards in total. Yeah.
Right. Best director, best short film, on and on and on. And again, you guys listening can get on DelawareShoreMovie.com and check out the movie and all the actors and the great performers,
and
along with the score.
Available on iTunes as well.
Available on iTunes as well. The score is on iTunes, and is it available for purchase?
Yeah, you can purchase
Really?
that from iTunes. Just type Delaware Shore into iTunes, and it'll come right up.
Now, is that an album or?
It's an album.
How many songs on it?
I think about 24
24 songs.
cues from the film. Yeah.
Wow.
They're all named, and you can look at the album, and if you've seen the film a few times,
right,
you'll be
and
able
I
to
have.
see from the album. And I've tried. Well, the tracks kind of describe the scenes.
Gotcha.
One's called Testimony, and it's at the end, and it's one of the big scenes where she's talking about the Holocaust, and we see the Holocaust footage.
Right.
And that's called Testimony, and that's quite a favourite of people's.
Now, do you remember the scene where Agnes, the lead character, came into Delaware and she met the one guy there, and he had the sharp coat on, he was a dapper. You wrote the score, so do you remember the music?
That music was a licensed piece of music.
Really?
Yeah, and for something so specific, for me to go out of my comfort zone and try and write music in that style,
right,
would be A, too expensive, and B,
okay,
it's just something that you if you want to evoke a kind of certain time period, it's best to go to find people who can do that musically and just use their music and ask them. You can license from them. That's
okay,
fine.
so you bought the license.
Yeah,
That music was already there because I auditioned for that role. I didn't get the role. Mr. Kevin Benton beat me out of that role, and so I'm watching the movie. I've watched it about 4 or 5 times now, and every time that scene comes in with that music, I'm like, man, dag, boy, they gave you got some good music on your scene. You know what I mean? I didn't get any. I played the role of Sean, and I don't remember.
I chose that piece especially. Yeah, I pitch shifted it so it was in the same key as the rest of the score.
Man, it was kind of like it was the whole score is just brilliant. To me, that's why obviously you won the awards for that. Now, we were talking to some young guys out there that want to be composers and get into music. What advice would you have to share for anybody who want to do what it is that you're doing and break into composing?
I think you need to be very, very thick-skinned, and I think you need to have a really good understanding of classical music.
Okay.
So go and study classical music at university.
Okay. Any university in particular?
Well, any great university in America it will do.
Okay.
The big ones. I mean, I'm not from America, so I can't.
Right, but off the top of your mind,
in the UK we have Trinity.
Obviously, the one you went to was a pretty good one.
It was a pretty good one, in the UK we have the Royal College of Music.
Okay.
Now, that kind of standard, a conservatoire sort of education.
Okay.
Because one day somebody's going to ask you to write a score like this, and you're going to need those chops.
Okay.
You know, like that jazz piece we talked about. Okay, the guy's got the jazz chops, and that's his specialism. And I wouldn't do a complete jazz score for a film.
Okay.
Because that's not my specialism. But that's not kind of asked for very often. More often you're asked to do classical scores.
Okay, so your advice, number one, is to go to school.
Yeah.
Get some basic training. What instrument?
Any instrument that you like. Violin is very good.
Really?
An understanding of strings is
Okay.
very good. But piano is the basic one.
Okay.
Piano is the sort of bottom line. Learn it, and you can't go wrong with piano.
Okay, good. Anything you want to leave with your fans over in England? You're here in America, in Delaware, checking. What do you want to say to your fans back in England?
I want to say to my fans back in England that I'm over here supporting this film because they supported me. And that's how it goes, you know. If you ignore me, I won't help you out.
Okay.
And so I came here because these guys gave me this opportunity to write. That's what I do. Okay, that's all I do is write music. You don't expect anything else from me. Okay. And
No, I don't mean you're in your lane.
If you want music,
right,
then I'll do it for you.
Okay.
But you know, I don't do anything else.
Do you know if the film is going to make it to England?
I don't know.
Well, we're going to talk to Rag Guy about that. He's behind the camera, by the way.
I'm hoping we can.
Are we going Facebook Live here? All right.
We could eventually network the film and get it onto like Hallmark Channel or the Lifetime Movie Channel or something. That's my, dream for the film.
Okay.
Then we can reach a lot more people that way. Because cinema releases are good, but they're awkward.
I got you.
TV is a good sort of mass medium, and I think this film needs to be disseminated widely.
Okay.
It's the subject matter.
Well, we're working on it. We're doing good. We were just out in Hollywood, California, and we was over there in New York. And now we're here in Delaware, so we'll be building steam. And what about your fans here in America?
I want to say thank you to everyone in America for giving me this opportunity. And, I flew over here just for a few days. I'm really jet lagged. I haven't slept. I had 3 hours last night.
Well, I'm glad you took the time to give us this interview.
I wanted to come over here to show intent and willing and show you that, I love you, America. Thanks for liking me too. We work well together.
What's next for you?
Next for me is to go back and probably continue to work with my publishers and move forward with the next. I'm writing sort of little vocal pieces at the moment.
Okay.
For end of movie songs, which is I wanted to play one too, Regav. Maybe we can have this on the show.
Absolutely.
And we can play this. It's called Meet Me on a Star.
Whatever music you send me, we're going to add it to this audio.
The latest piece.
And we'll play it on the radio. As a matter of fact, we could play the CD on the radio if it's all right. You know what I mean? The whatever songs you send, we'll just play it on the radio. WHGA 95.3 FM. We also have the iPad, the podcast Noah Jackson Radio Show on podcast, Stitcher, and iTunes, and all the rest of them. And you can just Google the name, and then they'll pop up, They can tag everything nowadays, and they'll get it. And so, how often do you work over here, though, Dave?
Generally, I work with directors over the phone.
Okay, and you can do your work from. That's the great thing about your work is you can do it anywhere in the world.
You can really.
And you choose to do it in England, your home.
Yeah.
And then you flew over, like you said, just to support us in this film. And we're just glad to have you, man. And
Thanks,
hope you
man.
get over that jet lag. I'm over in England every now and then. I do have friends over there, by the way. I'm John Stracey, a world champion boxer, is a very good friend of mine. Marvin Hagler is over there. He does a lot of work in England. I think he lives in Italy though. But I lived in Germany. As a matter of fact, we got this film is about the Holocaust survivors.
And today is the Holocaust Remembrance Day.
Today is the Holocaust Remembrance Day, and we want to, remember all the, we want to give our heart and what is it? Our condolences and prayers to the survivors.
Yeah,
we had a survivor here yesterday showing.
Yeah.
I believe it was. She came all the way down here to see the show and thought it was good. But I did live in Berlin from 80 to 83, and the wall was still up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I went down in 86, I believe it was. I was in the United States Army over there. And so, I
seen
get
that division.
Firsthand. You know what I mean? The Reichstag and all the other buildings and the camps and the stuff. It was just horrific, the history of Europe in general. And you being from England, I'm sure, Anyway, We want to thank you for coming on the show today.
Thank
You got
you.
any closing remarks, man?
I'm just so happy to be here, and it's been such fun meeting all of you. You know, you're my new best friends.
Well, you know, we want big family. You know, when you're working on projects, by the time it's over, you become a family.
Yeah,
you know, and I know you met a lot of the actors.
And we've been hanging out so much the last few days.
I
I can't even tell which day it is. It's just
you and I live here, and I don't know what it is. But it is a roller coaster ride. We had a great time.
Absolutely.
We want to give a shout out to Rag Al Pravi,
Yeah, I want to say
Mr.
thanks
Michelangelo
to Rag
Rodriguez, who wrote the book, and Agnes and what's the one young lady name is
Emily McKinney Hill.
Emily McKinney Hill, who did her name. She played the part. I'm trying to think of Tasha. Yeah, and the original Tasha was here.
The original
as well, where you got the name from.
She's lovely as well.
The whole cast. I hate starting naming because we always forget a few of them. You know what I mean? But we want to thank the whole cast and crew. You know, the cast is nothing without a strong crew.
Yeah.
And of course, and you tie it all together with great music. And so that's where your part comes in. So we want to thank you.
Thank you so much.
And next time you come over, man, give us a ring. And next time we go to England, we got to
absolutely. We'll do this again. We'll
get you a call.
Chew the fat.
Absolutely,
and we'll
man.
find out what's going on.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey, thanks for coming on the show, bro.
Absolutely.
All right,
anytime.
Man. All right, y'all. Listen to Lil Jackie Radio Show, WHG 95.3 FM. Just like we always do. We out. Talk to you later.